evening. Good evening. Welcome back. Welcome back to Walking Against the Current. We are happy to be here tonight.
That's right. That's right.
So welcome back. Welcome back. And again, I'm going to say welcome again. Thank you for joining us tonight to Walking Against the Current. We are excited to be back, and we are here to give you a blast of a show. And I guess I'll say my famous and now infamous question. How was your day, son?
It was good. Can't complain. Just blessed to be here. Today is our son's birthday. Oh. He is not in here. But he shout out. And, it's a blessed and honor to have him be 10 years old.
Oh my goodness. I remember, when you reminded me that it was his birthday, I was like, I remember giving you your 10th birthday party.
I know.
Well, time, man, it's really something else. But it's a blessing that I'm here to be able to see my grandchildren. I mean, my oldest one is going to be 14. 14.
Tell me about it.
Told you and Sharonda now old school now.
I'm still young.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm still young.
Yeah, me too.
if y'all on here tonight, trying to log on to the Facebook. So if you please hit highlights, share, tag. Let's get this thing going.
That is right. So what are we talking about tonight? Well, I want to just say, before you get started, welcome to Black History Month.
That's right.
This is, for me, it's every single day, but I am going to honor this month, and I'm honoring it tonight with my clothes that I have on. I have on my colors, my Pan-African colors tonight. And so I'm representing Black History Month tonight. Proud of our heritage. Shout out to everyone in their heritage. Heritage.
Yes. Very, very, very imperative. That is Black History Month. And shout out to everybody. Shout out. It's been a big thing going on with the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes.
And we're going to get into that, very briefly. But tonight's topic is talking about being strong on the outside, but struggling on the inside.
Man, I can definitely identify with that for sure.
Yes. We good to go? Okay.
All right. I'm telling you, shout out to I call her, she's my granddaughter, but she's actually my baby daughter in my mind. She's, she's like my daughter, so shout out to my little Liz. She is our studio queen. She helps us out with everything. So we just give her all praises because I love her so much.
Yes. So if y'all on Facebook tonight, if you could see us, unfortunately, we can't see you right now. So if you see us, please, again, like, share, comment. All right. So tonight, the theme is talking about real strength and silence. It's healing, honesty, and community, right? As always, want you guys to walk away feeling enlightened, educated, and emotionally refreshed, right? So here's the thing. Last night, the world watched the Super Bowl, as I mentioned earlier. Strength, competition, performance, pressure. But what we don't see is what many men feel when the lights are off.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Right? End of the day is, when you're watching these games, somebody has to be a winner and someone has to be a loser.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody wants to lose.
Nobody wants to lose. But unfortunately, there can only be one number one. Right? So strong on the outside, struggling on the inside. Right? Athletes perform through pain. Right? I was a semi athlete in high school.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? I did a little basketball here, a little track and field there, try football, fractured my toe, actually both my toes.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
But athletes have to perform through pain. I think about Michael Jordan, I think about Kobe Bryant, I think about all these greats who performed, while they was sick or had an injury, but they perform through pain.
Right.
Leaders perform through pressure.
Yes.
And men perform through expectations.
Ooh, I like that. Performing through expectations.
Yeah.
I definitely can say that for myself tonight. I don't know. I just started suffering from a bit of a sore throat tonight. So I am going to be talking, but I'm not going to be talking as much. But I mean, exactly. I mean, we have the podcast. I'm here. I'm going to still show up. I'm going to perform through my pain.
Yeah.
So that's what we got to do in life. No matter what, we have to persevere.
Yes. So kick off with a question.
Oh, I have so many questions. Okay. Oh, I'm going to put my glasses
Okay.
on. I'm going to ask you this question. When was the last time you checked on your internal self, not just your external image? When did you check on your internal self? You know, I think sometimes we are the world is so much on external. I mean, everywhere you go, we have our phones out, we're clipping, we're taking pictures, everything. I mean, now we got what are those glasses called?
Meta glasses.
I mean, people are taking pictures when you don't even know they're taking pictures. But when, I guess the last time you really checked on your eternal self?
Well, that's a good question. The last time I checked on my eternal self, I've been doing it a lot lately, honestly. Just by writing in my journal, that has been, to me, that has been really thought provoking. It's been a way for me to release emotions that I had bottled up inside of me. It's been times recently that I was writing in my journal that I began to cry, I began to yell, I began to scream.
Wow.
And I was just getting those emotions out. You know what I'm saying?
That's important.
Just the thoughts that I had in my head. And sometimes, we as men, we talk about this in the men's group. We as men, we don't want to talk to get our feelings out, right?
Right.
And many men would say to me, I don't know what to write about. And I'm like, bro, just start writing. You'll be amazed what will begin to come out the moment you begin to write. It's been times in my journal that I was like, I don't know what to write. And I started writing, and here I am 4 pages later.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say for me has been journaling, excuse me.
And that's really good because the best part of journaling is when you're going to go back and read that later.
Right.
And it becomes a piece of history. I mean, obviously, each night it becomes a piece of history, but it becomes a piece of history where you can really reflect back. This is where I was at this point in my life. And you're going to really see it. And I've actually found journals. I've started so many journals.
Right.
And I've actually found some. And I'm like, oh my, and some of it I don't even remember.
Wow.
Some of the experiences, especially with the children. And it's different things that I experienced with mothering my children and different things that they have done over the years. And when I found those journals and I read them, I'm like, wow. And it's actually, like I say, I always say journaling is so important because it actually becomes a piece of history.
Right.
So, that's a very good, healthy way to deal with your emotions, to reflect on your emotions. It's your private time. It's no right or wrong. So it's really a good thing. So that's kind of sort of dealing with your internal self, because when you're journaling, you're raw, right? There's no type of audience. It's just you in that journal. And so you can be as completely transparent and just let loose. So that's why I really encourage people to journal, because it's really a way to get things out.
Yeah.
So, and if I ask the audience that question, unfortunately, you said we couldn't see the questions tonight. So
no, we can't see them tonight. So if they're watching, they can hear us, but we just can't see them.
Oh, okay. This technology I'm learning, but so I think for me, journaling, I haven't journaled in a while. I just been kind of focused on doing more reading and reflecting on my scriptures and just kind of sort of dealing with that and how to handle my emotions, because I never thought that, starting, this is not the first business I started, but it's more a passion for me right now, this business, and dealing with my internal self was really shocking, because I was like, wow, I'm finding myself looking at who's booking, who's not booking. And I find myself like, why aren't you booking? And I'm like, this is like a passion of mine. And I had to remind myself, one, that I shouldn't be anxious for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, and that's because I've been reflecting in my scriptures. And two, I need to just have faith that who's going to be there is going to be there.
It's supposed to be there.
Exactly. So, and then I just had to turn, because I was so disappointed in how I was acting in terms of my personal feelings. Nothing that you could see, not anybody could see, but it was something that I was dealing with internally, right?
Mm.
And so I really had to check myself with the scriptures and say, wait a second, how are you dealing with this? You know what I mean? Who are you trusting? And this whole thing is about healing, right? Health and wellness. So where are you getting yours from? You know what I mean?
Right.
You're willing to share it and give it to others, but you have to really practice what you preach. So I had to talk myself back into my right mind. So this weekend I completely turned off Laugh a Lot and I just kind of rested. And I just kind of really started to just kind of do some self healing within myself. So it was like, I mean, we have all kind of ways what we deal with it, but we have to have a solution to kind of talk ourselves back down to where we're supposed to be at mentally and with our wellness.
Man, that's good. That is good. So I want to talk about this, right? So here's the thing, and y'all know I'm always multitasking, doing different things. So I'm trying to let's ask our audience. Can y'all see us on Facebook? Give me a thumbs up if you can see us.
I'm talking to our live audience, and they're so good. They're nice and quiet. You know what I mean?
We have a live audience in here, y'all.
They are nothing like their
Because
Gigi.
again, we can't see y'all tonight, but y'all can see us. Okay.
So ask a question. Feel free to ask questions, even our audience.
Yeah. So watch this. So how many people? Think about this. How many people last night celebrated loudly from the Super Bowl? Right,
Yeah.
but woke up this morning still carrying something heavy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, as I said, somebody had to lose last night, and I went for the Seahawks. You know, I am not a Patriots fan, so with my cap on, because I am not a Patriots fan. I'm actually a Giants fan. That's my team, but of course we lost, so I had to go for somebody. So I went with the Seahawks. What are you making that face for? So let's talk about this halftime show real briefly, right?
Mm.
I want to talk about this halftime show real briefly, and it was crazy because I think that the performance was good, me personally, right? I think it was so many innuendos in that performance last night,
Right.
with so many things going on in America with ICE, with that community of people. I think it's important for us to embrace the culture, embrace their culture,
Yes.
because here's the reality. Nobody says anything when you have, think about it. We don't complain, meaning African Americans, we don't complain when it's our people on the platform.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody who's Caucasian don't complain when it's somebody that looks like them on the platform. So why do we have to be the ones to complain or show any type of hatred or ignorance for lack of understanding when it's a different heritage now getting their time to shine?
Mm. Absolutely. I consider myself a little Puerto Rican because I grew up in New York and my best friend was Puerto Rican. So I know all about the culture. And then
And
of
your
course,
father.
and my father's from Panama. So I have that that culture as well, that Caribbean culture. So I will definitely I love the music. I mean, I absolutely loved the performance. I loved everything about it. And then my sister girl called me, and she's Puerto Rican, so she called me. She was like, "Hey, they representing Puerto Rico tonight." So she was all excited. And of course, I have Puerto Rican grandchildren. My son-in-law is from Puerto Rico. So to me, I mean, I'm immersed in just culture, period. I just love all culture. So to me, it was fantastic. I think we as humans, not just Americans, but as humans, need to embrace everyone's culture, everyone's differences, because really, my mom used to always tell us we're more alike than we're different
Right.
as humans. But then we add the little seasonings to all of our cultures, right? We have, the Puerto Ricans might have their gandules. Certain parts of Africa have their jollof rice. So we all have our own seasonings and cultures and way of thinking, but we need to embrace it and see how we are more alike than we are different. So I absolutely love the performance.
Yeah. And it showed how one moment can inspire some people and trigger others.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like the vulnerability in men. I'm gonna always talk about that. I'm gonna always talk about men and vulnerability, because that is one area that I feel like many men struggle with, is learning how to be, number one, still, and number two, vulnerable.
Right.
And that's something that I'm still trying to perfect for my family, for my children, for just everybody, trying to perfect how to be more vulnerable, how to show more emotion. Like this morning, I dropped my daughter off to school, and I told her in the car, I said, "You know what? Daddy's proud of you." Right?
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
She got her headphones on. Can you hear me?
No,
Can you
she
hear me?
can't hear you. She got her headphones on.
She got her headphones on. But I said this morning, I said, Daddy's proud of you. I don't tell you that enough. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm proud of you. I love you. Remember to always be a leader.
Right.
Do not be a follower, because next year I'm about to have a high schooler. We about to have a high schooler, I can't believe it, Jesus. So we always telling her to be a leader. Don't be a follower. Keep your body sacred. Learn to say no. Learn to, don't go with the trend. Walk against the current.
That's it, man. Walk against the current. Be the trendsetter.
Be the trendsetter.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes in life, we as people in general do not give people credit. I mean, and it doesn't cost you nothing to say those words to her. But some words that someone or people can say to you can last for a lifetime, good and bad.
That's right.
Right? So I can remember really mostly all of the negative things a teacher have ever said to me, and I can equally remember the positive. So why not we side on the positive of what we say? We need to think before we speak, and we also need to be intentional what we say, because that means a lot when you tell your child that you're proud of them. They need to hear that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not just, I'm going to gift you with this, I'm going to gift you with that. Sometimes it's just really nice to say, hey, I love you and I'm proud of you.
That's right.
So that's important.
So I can see some of y'all on Facebook on my tablet. So y'all know I got my devices up here, you know what I'm saying? So I can see some of y'all on my tablet. My laptop is acting a little wonky. I may just flip the two. But I definitely want to tie in a little bit to men in emotional isolation, because many men are surrounded by people but feel alone. One of the guys last night, I can't think of his name. He was number 9 for the Seahawks. He was a running back, and he showed a clip last night talking about how his dad would never come to his games.
Wow.
Not because he didn't want to, but because he don't like being around large crowds.
Oh, okay.
So I thought about that when I was making my segment tonight, because many men are surrounded by people but feel alone. And it showed a clip of his dad looking really uncomfortable at the Super Bowl, but at one clip he began to smirk because he was proud of his son.
Right.
Now, I'm sure he loves to be there, and only God knows what he's dealing with when it comes to maybe PTSD or anxiety,
right.
or only God knows, right? I don't know the brother. But his son was so excited that his father was at the Super Bowl,
right?
Cheering him on, because he knew that his father struggled with being in large crowds. But his father put aside his differences to be there for his son last night. Ooh. So that meant a lot to me from watching that as a father, as someone who has dealt with depression, who's dealt with anxiety, who's dealt with being in large crowds, who dislike that. Because sometimes as men, like I said, we have to be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to get outside our comfort zone. We have to be strong, strong in our culture, strong when it comes to emotional suppression, learning how to not always suppress our emotions.
Yeah, and that's a lot that's what's happening today. I mean, people nowadays, and since we're talking about culture, I mean, you got some individuals that I have spoken to, they don't even want to. There was a time when people were so proud of their cultures. Now people are just suppressing that. It's like, I don't want to say that out loud. I might get pulled over. I mean, someone might say something to me. And to me, that's such a sad place to be in this world, that we just can't be proud of who we are and where we come from and our heritage. I don't know why I want to keep saying heritage. I mean, forgive me, y'all. Forgive me tonight, but we should be so proud of each other.
We're going to blame it on the throat for now.
I'm going to blame it on my throat. My words are not coming out. It's my throat, man.
And, from the food,
No, well, I don't know if it was from the food, because the food was gone. But then I'm going to
tell them what happened. Because here's the reality, guys. We believe in being real and transparent. God,
you just got to say, tell them what happened.
Nah, I mean, the reality is God spared you.
No, he did. I wasn't choking. I mean, the thing was that, I'll say it really quickly. This boy,
because you said your throat was hurting.
No,
so
I will give a testimony since you said that. So I will give a testimony. He's, Sharon, do you see this? So I was eating. I knew we had the podcast to do. I hadn't eaten all day at work. I had a meeting after work, so time was of the essence for me. So I said, let me grab something to eat really quickly before we get on the podcast. So I chopped that down. It was good to go. And then as I was driving, all of a sudden it felt like something was sticking me in it was almost like something was sticking me, like a sharpness. And so the sharpness was so strong that it was actually kind of scaring me. I was like, wait a minute, what is that pain coming out? You start swallowing. So I had bottled water in the car, so I'm drinking the water, and it seemed like as I was drinking the water, it was getting worse. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh no. I mean, 100 things go to your mind when you're by yourself, you're driving. I'm like, why am I at this point now? It's feeling like whatever was in my throat was raising up. So I was like, you know what I mean? So I'm panicking now.
Right.
So then I decided to, I had my music playing, I had my phone out. So I said, you know what? Let me put my scriptures on.
Right.
And it's so funny because one of the things we do and laugh a lot is breathing. So I started doing practicing what I preach. I started taking deep, but the funny thing about it was on the scriptures. It was on the page. It was like, take deep breaths and breathe. And I was like, and I was practicing what I preach. And then I just also started praying. I was like, okay, I feel like this is an attack against me right now. So why is this an attack against me? So I just started speaking the word and it didn't work. And I'm telling you, as I was praying, true story now, literally, I can feel whatever it was in my throat rise up. I was like,
now she preaching now. See, she didn't want to talk about it.
But it rose up. And so when it rose up, I kept praying, and then it was almost like in spirit, it was like gone. And I was like, I'm swallowing now, looking for the edge, the sharpness, and so it was gone. And I was like, okay, all right, thank you, Lord, thank you, Jesus, and I'm giving him all the praise. So you're right, I'm praising him. But it did leave a little aftermath, nothing like it was. But I sensed some soreness, and I don't know if that was because I was like, coughing up and irritating myself by doing that over. So yeah, so it's a little sore tonight, but I'm persevering. I'm pushing through my struggles, and I'm here tonight. But I'm here to tell you, prayer works.
Prayer works.
Prayer works.
Prayer works.
Give him all the praise and honor.
And prayer works because now we can officially see y'all.
Oh, good. Oh, awesome. So that was my testimony. It was a testimony, but I still do feel some discomfort, but I am healed. I'm completely healed.
Yeah. That's a blessing. So here's some real truth, right? Men are taught to produce, not process. Move this over now because now I can move my tablet closer to me since I'm not doing both. Men are taught to produce and not process. We are taught to provide and not feel, right? Think about that. Men are taught to provide, not feel. Like, I don't want to hear about you having a bad day. I don't want to hear about you having, being stressed at work. Get your butt up, go to work, provide for your family, pay for your kids, tuition, pay for your child support, pay for your mortgage, pay for the rent. Whatever you got to do as a man, provide. You don't got time to feel.
And that's the one thing that, honestly speaking, that is so true. And it's kind of taught, it's kind of taught. Right. And it needs to be untaught, in some ways. Like, I'm not saying that men shouldn't provide, but there has to be some vulnerability room for a man to feel that peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got to be some room. Ladies, I think I said this before on the podcast, but I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. When your significant other come home from a hard day work, men or women, take that time not to just immediately go into what's wrong. Just take that time to just acknowledge that person, give them a hug. And like you said with your daughter, tell that person how much you appreciate their sacrifices that they're making by going out to work, because it is indeed a sacrifice, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then when they get home, of course, there could be a bill due. There could be something they didn't do last night. There could be, they left this out. We know how men can leave their clothes laying around. Mm-hmm. But before you get into all of that, for that first maybe 15, 20 minutes of your spouse coming home, man or woman, just love on that person with words. You will see how your relationship will transform when that person feels appreciated and respected. Sure. So you're right. Men need to know, and we need to make sure y'all know it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to shed a tear. Those things we have to be, those ways of thinking, like you just said, has to be untaught.
Right. Let me ask you a question. And the audience, too, since we could see you, do you have people who check on your heart and not just your performance? Do you have people that check on your heart and not just your performance?
Well, I am a person that checks on people's heart all the time. How are you doing? I don't often feel like I get that back.
Right.
In all honesty, I don't feel like I get that back sometimes. So I think it's important for us to check on each other's heart, because that is what is your lifeline.
Yeah, talking about the heart, this is so deep. Everything we talk about is matters of the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the heart sits where? In your chest, right? And I did a study one time when I was in the training, and they talked about how the heart is close to your head, is 6 inches from your head, and from it was so profound, right? And think about the word heart. You have here in it,
Mm-hmm.
HEAR is in heart, right? So whatever you hear, that's why they say, be careful, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, because whatever you hear will transcend to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever come out your heart comes out your mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about people like, I know when I was tased that one time, you know, when I got tased in the police academy, I said a cuss word,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That was in my heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Using profanity was in my heart. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what came out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Well, I guess I got a lot of that, right?
we're just being real, you know what I'm saying? But that is so profound because the heart is what truly matters. People go to jail every day because of what? The heart.
Right.
Emotions.
Emotions.
Being like things, somebody's cheating on you, somebody's playing you, somebody's disrespecting you.
Right.
Pride, all of that deals with the heart.
Absolutely does. Absolutely does. And when the heart is broken, oh man. I mean, you can actually, that's a whole nother, let's do a topic on that. Let's do a segment on the heart, because I think
Just the
that is
heart.
something that we really need to delve into, because a lot of people don't realize how deep that really is. So we're going to come back with that one. That is very dear to my heart to discuss that topic,
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't deal with the matters of the heart. So yeah, let's talk about that. I was going to ask a question.
Well, I have one.
Okay.
I want to jump into, we're talking about leaders, right? I'm so big on leadership, and I'm aspiring to become and be a better leader. A leader myself, a leader for my family, a leader for my community, leader just as a friend, as a brother, all the way around, right? But there's leaders who don't feel safe being vulnerable.
Oh yeah.
Right? Now watch this. Police officers, pastors, coaches, fathers, and entrepreneurs are the top leaders who do not feel safe being vulnerable.
Wow. Right. And what would you think? Why? Why do you think that happened?
Well, the higher the leadership, the deeper the isolation. That's one. And I've had people that are pastors, that are coaches, that are mentors, police officers, and high ranking, because end of the day, these are people that many people come to, right? So it's almost like, if I got all these people coming to me for the answer,
right,
who can I come to?
Right. Who can I be vulnerable with?
Who can I be vulnerable with as a leader to now take my mask off and say, I'm dealing with this.
Right.
I need help with this, because as the pastor, the bishop, the mentor, the coach, the police officer, all these different titles, they are the ones that everybody come to.
Right.
So who can they be vulnerable with?
Right.
Without feeling judged. Like, man, pastor doing that?
Right.
or your mentor's doing that?
Right.
The sheriff is doing that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who can they truly be vulnerable with? And that
without feeling like they're weak.
Without feeling like they're weak.
Right.
Or being judged like you drink.
Right.
Or you battle.
Or you cuss.
Right. You battle with profanity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, God, dog, who do I go to?
So then that means you're constantly in a state of wearing a mask.
Right.
Which could ultimately affect your body as well, because you don't have a chance to just let loose. And there's something about being able to say, hey, like when I come on, like you said, we're transparent. We try to be as honest as we can be, because this is a platform to help teach people to walk against the current, right? To say that, hey, I'm okay with being different. I'm okay with not being like the status quo. You know what I mean? And I make mistakes and I'm vulnerable. I'm not perfect, So yeah. I mean, he said earlier tonight I was eating my food or maybe a choke, but I mean, sometimes it could be that you're eating too fast. I mean, it could be all kinds of things that can make it could be a supernatural attack. But honestly, it is okay. It should be okay that you should, as a man of God, say, yeah, there are often times I might say a cuss word, and the congregation shouldn't judge you for it. Right. Because at the end of the day, the pastor is the title. They're still the human behind the title.
Right.
That's vulnerable, that gets upset, that has emotions, that becomes angry at times. You know what I mean? No one's perfect.
Right. Miss Payne, you're so right. They don't want to seem weak. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. People lean on leaders, but who do leaders lean on?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Many leaders are bleeding privately while leading publicly.
Right. Oh, I can believe that. I
You
can
know what I'm
believe that.
saying?
And mothers too. Think about the motherhood. I mean, mothers are. We are. I always say mothers are super women because we do so much and we have to show up all the time. Men sometimes can get a free pass if they don't show up, but women, we do not get that free pass. Your mama ain't here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something about that mother role is different. So, and mothers sometimes have to be the work. Go to work. She has to cook. She has to show up to the game. She has to wash the clothes. She has to do homework projects. It's just so much, and they have to do all of that, especially when you're a single mother.
Right.
And you have to do all of that and expect to show up and wake up every day with a smile on your face for your children. And so many mothers do that. They wake up each and every day. They're smiling with their children. They're playing games with their children. And sometimes when they go in their bed by themselves, they're crying. I've been that mother.
Right.
When you was a kid, it was just me and my son. And when he woke up, that was the light of my life. So I'm jumping up with him, making sure he eats, making sure he does things. And, I'm getting him in school. I'm fighting for him in school, making sure everybody treat him right. But at the end of the night, when he's put to bed and I'm thinking about the bills, I'm thinking about my life and whatever's not going right, I might be in there weeping. But he don't see that, The
Right.
children don't get a chance to see that. So like you said, when you're having those moments, that's when your tribe comes together. It's so important to have your tribe, your friendships, and in real friendships that you can be vulnerable with. My girlfriends, I thank God for them. We've been friends 40 plus years. Was I telling you that?
Yeah, that's more.
Okay. 40 plus years. And when you really think about that, that's beyond just friendship. That's sisterhood, right? We can be very vulnerable with each other, but there's just certain friends you have certain things with too. Isn't that crazy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because certain friends like, oh, I'm not going to tell her that because she's going to be like, girl, no, you didn't.
I tell people all the time, like, I can have a group of friends, right? Like, we all could be boys. But just because I tell boy A something, boy B don't mean we're not the same. I may have a better rapport with this one or feel like I get better counsel from this one versus that one. It's not that I'm looking at y'all differently. It's just, you know what I'm saying?
Well, for me, it's honesty too. Because some of my friends, we love each other so much, they won't be they won't be bloody honest with me. So they might be saying something like, yeah, you okay, girl. Whereas I got another friend, they be like, you messed up, man. You a mess. You know what I mean? So
Right.
sometimes I know I need to hear somebody say you're a mess.
Right. That's true. And I actually got a clip I'm going to post tomorrow about talking about honesty. We talked about that last week.
Oh, man.
But that is so true though, man. Like, it is so important to have those people in your life that's going to be real with you. It's so important to have people that's going to love you, hold you accountable, like we said earlier, right? But I want to ask this question: what happens when the strong one breaks? Right?
Oh boy.
What happens when the strong one breaks?
It's really funny you said that because people that are very strong, when you see them cry, it's almost uncomfortable. It's like, oh my God, they're crying because they never cry. There's somebody I know in my personal life that they're so strong that when I do see that person vulnerable, it almost seems like, oh my God, it's hard. My youngest son is like that actually. It's when I see my youngest son cry, I know he's hurting.
Yeah.
Think about your brother.
Mm-hmm.
He will have something to say for everything, but it's very rare you'll see him just weep and cry. You know what I mean? And so when I hear him crying, and when he cries, he go for it too.
Right.
But it's not something I see often. Like, I'm the biggest crybaby in the world, so my kids know I'm a crybaby. Anything will make me cry. But and so is Lawrence. So we all know he's a crybaby.
Oh my God.
My daughter Mimi is, but I think Cece. What about Cece?
You had to throw me out there like that. Can I put myself out there?
Somebody's giving thumbs up.
But here's the thing, and I try to focus on that because in many people's eyes, I am the strong one, right? Mm-hmm. Thankfully, prayerfully, people look at me like that, but I'm always saying I'm not the strong one. Like, I come on these podcast shows, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the community. I'm doing this and doing that, but a lot of times I'm doing that stuff bleeding on the inside.
Ooh, isn't that something?
You know what I'm saying? It's being real. A lot of times I'm the one bleeding on the inside. And I'm grateful that I have the men's group. I'm grateful I have friends in my life that I could call and be like, yo, bro, I'm going through it. Today was a bad day. Like, today was a dark day.
Well, some of your problems, you don't know how to sit down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I tell him sometimes just to relax. I can kind of sort of tell when you're in overdrive, and most of my advice is going to be relax.
Mm-hmm.
Take some time for yourself, you know what I mean? Because he's the type of person that he want to get it all done. I mean, the men's group, if you out there and you're listening, he puts his heart and soul in that thing, you know what I mean? And I mean, he gives it his all. So I think when Lawrence does anything, he gives it his all, you know what I mean? I give him credit for that. He'll give it his all. So I think sometimes in doing that, you don't take enough time to just relax for yourself.
Yeah, I struggle with relaxing, man. Like when I'm off, I'm always doing like literally last night I was gonna work out, and we made some cookies last night. Well, I made cookies last night, and I ate them. I ate them real good too. Ain't that right? But I was gonna work out last night, and I was like, you know what? What am I doing?
Right.
My body's tired, and I spoke to my dad yesterday. And one thing my father told me yesterday, he was like, you need to rest.
Right.
And my father is the one who never rests.
Right.
Right. He's never resting. He's always working, always doing something. And my dad lives in New York. And we talked yesterday for a little minute. And he was like, man, rest yourself, man. Rest your nerves. And when I put on my workout gear last night, his voice came in my head. Rest yourself.
Right.
So I took it back off and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make some cookies with the kids.
Right.
Just,
oh, man, yes.
Just do something. And we all ended up playing Uno last night. But that would have been 30 minutes gone.
Right. You never get back.
That you never get back. All because of vanity. Wanting to work out and look better. I feel like I gained 2 pounds on the scale.
Right.
Just stupid stuff. You know what I'm
things
saying?
that don't really necessarily matter in the long run. Those 30 minutes with the children is a lifetime memory. Those 30 minutes in there, it's just that's it.
Right. My body was so tired last night, and I felt so good.
I see it sometimes. I'm like, sit down. But I do understand that because I was a little down. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I was a little down this weekend, and I forced myself just to stay in. Now, anybody who knows me, really know one of my favorite programs is Little House on the Prairie. So I can binge out on Little House on the Prairie because for me, it represents a time in life when life was just simple. It wasn't chaotic. It was just very peaceful living. They didn't have much, but they were happy and family. So that's kind of sort of my image of a perfect world, just being happy with your family and your children, mom and dad working together as a team, and the community all come together on Little House on the Prairie. That's why it's one of my favorite shows. So that's the reason why I binged on that. But it was very hard to sit in the bed all day. Each and every time I got ready to get up to do something, and it's going to be something to do with this business, I was like, nope, sit your butt down.
Right.
So we have to take that time to just relax and turn off the world.
Mm-hmm.
Turn off the world.
So asking for help isn't weakness, right? Weakness equals pretending you're okay when you're not. Mm-hmm. And I spoke about this in the men's group for one of our segments. We talked about this. So many men, you could say, hey, bro, you good? Knowing darn on well you're not good.
You about to say something else, wasn't you?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Knowing darn on, I was about to say dang on well, but it didn't sound right. Knowing darn on well you're not good. And then we'd be like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Like, you need any money? Nah, I'm good. Knowing daggone well you're counting the negative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that pride, of saying, no, I'm good, and asking, that is a sign of weakness, not being able to be real. Not saying you got to put your business out there and tell everybody what's going on, you getting evicted, you being put out. No. But if you got true friends, true people that love you and care about you, to ask you, like, bro, you good? Be real with them.
Right.
Be vulnerable with them. Right. And strength equals confronting what hurts.
Mm-hmm.
We was talking about that today about, you have to be willing to have the tough conversations. Too many times people shy away from tough conversations. They rather just sweep it under the rug and deal with it later versus having a conversation. And a lot of times when you have the conversation, you realize it was just a miscommunication.
Yeah. So dealing with it head on.
Yeah, deal with it head on. You know what I'm saying? Here's some examples of that, right? Think about this. Athletes have trainers, right? CEOs have coaches. Soldiers have units.
Wow.
Who do we have?
Right.
Who do you have that's training you, that's holding you accountable, that's telling you you can do it, that's telling you to have the conversation, that's telling you to step out on faith, that's telling you to get the job done, that's telling you all these things that we need to hear, that's telling you that you're doing wrong.
Right.
Who do you have that's holding you accountable? Everybody that's successful have a coach.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I'm probably got I'm making my own coaches with my kids. I'm making them with the business right now, and I'm leaning on them really hard. And I know Sammy last night, I was doing something on the computer. He is my coach because he's a tech geek, right? Sammy is technically a tech geek. He is so smart on that computer, right? He can do it with his eyes closed. But he was doing something downstairs last night, and I must have called him like 5 different times. So the last time he's like, "What?" You know. And I'm like, hey, watch your tone. And then I finally said, I need you again, you know? So he's my coach right now. He's my tech guy. You know, he's been helping me a lot and you've been helping me a lot, but they've been coming a little frustrated with me, but I need help.
Here we go.
I need help.
But here's the reality. No one survives alone.
No.
Right? That's the reality. No one survives alone. And my question is, why is it easier to help others than to ask for help?
Well, you want to really know my reason for that? A lot of times it's because you're being seen. You know, you get the hand claps when you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But when you have to be vulnerable, put yourself out there, there's no reward in that other than, anyway, it's a reward, but it's not the reward that you're seeking.
Yeah, it's so easy for people to always be the one to help people.
When you're the rescuer, you're the hero.
You're the hero.
You're the hero. When you're the one saving the day, that's what this culture is made out of. When you're the one saving the day, you're the hero. But when you have to be the victim, it's harder.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, who taught you that vulnerability was dangerous?
I think the world. I think our culture does. You know, the guy that loses in the game and they crying, they calling them weak. You know, think about it when you was a kid and you played baseball. You know, if your team lost and those children started to cry about it, a lot of times the fathers and the mothers would call them weak and, what are you doing crying, you big old baby? So we've been taught that from childhood, you know, like when you cry, it's a sign of weakness. So when you're, when you've been told that when you're crying, you're being weak, now that grows in you and you become an adult and it's like, oh, I can't cry. People are going to regard me as a weak person. So no, I don't want to be that way. So I'm going to have to put on my best foot.
Yeah, and full transparency, the men in my life was like that. Don't cry, toughen up, don't be a baby,
Right.
don't do this. And it's so crazy that this thought comes back to my mind. It was a time where we always walk in our subdivision. This had to be at least 3 years ago. And this is etched into my mind.
Wow.
And it was me, Sharonda, the kids, and we walked from our house to your house.
Okay.
And I think Sammy was with us too. Libby's walking him back home.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to get some exercise. Maybe 4 years ago, actually. And long story short, Junior was playing with Sam, and he ended up falling, and he scratched his leg. And if you know me, like, if one of my kids get hurt, I get scared and I get angry. I'm like grandma with that.
Right.
My grandma's the same way. And we get angry not because we don't care. We get angry because we don't want you to be hurt.
Right.
Right? We love you so much that we don't want you crying to be hurt.
Right.
And I got so angry that I was like, get off that floor. Get out. What are you doing? I'm going to go to the ER tonight. And he was just crying and crying and crying. I was like, stop that crying, boy. But I was so angry because he hurt his leg.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how to
emotions, right.
I didn't know how to channel my emotions. I didn't know how to effectively communicate that I was hurt, that he was hurt.
Right.
So because I didn't know how to effectively communicate, I allowed anger to take over, and I began to yell and scream at him.
So the message that he heard was, I'm not allowed to be hurt and cry. I'm in pain, and I'm not allowed to express my pain. So that's how it starts.
That's how it starts. And I was like, stop that crying. And because I was so angry, and to this day, I try my hardest now when my kids cry. And I'm still learning. I still mess up.
I do
but
too.
now when I mess up, I immediately apologize.
Right. Oh, that's good. That's
yesterday,
good. Accountability. That's
matter of fact,
good.
last week when Keela ate the nuts.
Right.
And I had to stop the podcast. Well, I left my mama here by herself.
And I was just a babbling because I knew I was guilty as they came. I had given her the nuts. You know what I mean?
And I had to leave the show to go tend to her. And I was yelling at her because I was scared because her face was getting puffy and I was scared. And she was crying. I was like, Daddy, you hurt my feelings. He was yelling at me and he should have been. And I said, come here, baby. I'm sorry. Give me a hug. I'm sorry.
Still a work in progress. That's okay.
I'm still a work in progress. But ever since that situation with my son, I try to always, not to rekindle that.
Right.
We have to learn from our past.
We do.
Sometimes our past could be our coach.
Right. Oh, I like that.
Your past can be your coach. What you don't want to repeat, what you don't want to happen. And your future could be a coach too.
That's right. But a good thing is when you recognize, like, it's okay to make a mistake, but the reward is when that you can recognize it and say, I'm sorry, and then strive to do better. Because we're humans all over the world. We're going to make mistakes. But when we can say, "Oop, I made a mistake," and we can acknowledge that, then we can move on. That's growth.
Yes. Oh, pride. Auntie Pat, I was about to say, okay, Grandma.
Exactly. I think I'm giving that talk all the time. If my mother's listening, don't get mad at me.
Right.
But you would rather go to hell with Glaceline drawers on before you let my mother know you was hurt, because you knew you were going to get in trouble. You know what I mean? Literally.
Right. That's an emotion that God gave all of us. Crying is healthy. Keeping it in is harmful. Absolutely.
Exactly. Oh, a good cry. You feel so much better when it's out.
Oh, my God, yes. And I actually have that on here before we end because today is Junior's birthday, and we got to sing happy birthday, get some cake and ice cream. Again, family time, but we want to be consistent by coming on here with you guys because it's Monday, right? So I want to talk about that. You highlighted talking about crying is healthy, right? So watch this. Healing in silence versus healing in community. It is so important to have community. That's why we have Men Matter. That's why, that's one of the reasons why we bought this house in this subdivision, because my mother and my grandmother lived in this subdivision, and we needed help with the kids. Community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Healing in silence, what does that look like? It's bottled pain. It's isolation. It's delayed breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Man, that right there is so key. Silence. So many men have silence. So many men cry in the showers. So many men sit in their driveways or their cars and just cry and weep and think about things. So many men literally drive in silence with no radio on, just thinking. I talked to a lot of my homeboys and friends, and they're like, bro, it's nothing like driving in silence with nothing on, just thinking, But healing a community, when you have a community of people, what that look like? You have accountability. You have brotherhood. You have shared growth, right? It's so important to have. I can't not stress that enough. It is so important to have community, right? Teams win championships, not individuals.
Right.
Right? Community creates resilience. When you have a community, you have people holding you accountable, people you telling you, no, don't do that. Yes, you need to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's been times when some of the men in the men's group told me, bro, don't do that. Do this, or go home and do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just important. Even as a leader, I'm learning, and I've learned to always be willing to listen to people and take constructive criticism.
Right. And that's so important, to take that constructive criticism, even from your children. My children will check me at times, and I have to be humble enough. Even my grandchildren, they will sometimes check me, and I'm like, what? In my mind, I'm saying what, but I'm on the outside, I'm like, yeah, okay, because Lizzie is when she will check me quick, you know what I mean? and not in a disrespectful way, but in a way that I can, you have to be able to receive from anybody. Right. You're never too big or too smart or too old to receive correction. So that's a good word too, to be humble. Somebody put pride down here. So the opposite of pride is humility. So we should be walking in humility as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess we're going to get ready to go eat cake. Oh, he's talking about gaining a pound or two. I guess we're going to gain a pound or two tonight because we're going to have some cake. And I guess did you do your closing reflection?
Yes, I have two.
Okay.
I had a question, and it's a real good question, but I ain't going to I'm going to say it, and you guys could ponder about it, right? Is who knows the real you, right? Who knows the real you? I'm going to read this comment. Sometimes you need to heal in silence, just you and God. You can hear him clearly without distractions. Yes, silence.
Oh,
yes.
I love that.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely. So listen, strong on the outside doesn't mean you're not tired on the inside. Smiling doesn't mean you're not hurting. Right? Mm-hmm. Leading doesn't mean you don't need support. Some men are winning publicly and losing privately, like I said before. So it's so important to get around community, get around people that love you, that care about you, that will tell you the truth, because it is imperative to have people around you, real friends, real community, that's going to tell you when you're doing wrong, not just tell you when you're doing right. I don't ever want to have no yes men around me. I want women around me that's going to tell me you're wrong. My mother has no problem telling me when I'm wrong.
I do it in love, though. I do it in such a love. I'm so gentle, spirited, because you can receive better when somebody's talking to you opposed to yelling at you.
Yeah. And trust me, my kids do too.
Yeah, I know my daughter. Well, I won't even say it on air. I'll get with her later. My daughter, Mimi. They all want to correct us sometimes. Being a parent, boy, with 4 kids, I give it up to parents that had 10 and 12. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Yes. So, I will say, I will say thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate this. We'll definitely be back next week, God willing. And if you haven't yet, can you help promote me a little bit?
Yeah, if you haven't yet, please go to Eventbrite, go to my page, go to my mom's page, and click on the link to go register for
Laugh.
Laugh a Lot.
Yes, Laugh a Lot.
Laugh a Lot event.